Have you ever met a man who seemed almost magnetically drawn to you so intensely that it felt like something deeper than chemistry? Most people assume attraction is about looks, body language, or flirting, but what if the real power comes from something far quieter, far deeper, and far more instinctive? What if the strongest turn-ons for a man aren't physical at all, but psychological? The private, invisible switches in his mind that he doesn't even realize you're flicking. In today's video, we're going to reveal the 5 psychological triggers that hit a man harder than lust, because these are the things he's not telling you, mostly because he doesn't consciously understand them himself. These triggers bypass physical attraction and go straight to his emotional core. They activate the part of him that craves connection, respect, challenge, safety, and intrigue. And once these psychological turn-ons are activated, a man feels a pull toward you that is almost impossible for him to shake. These aren't manipulative tactics. They're not games. They're not about pretending to be someone else. They're about understanding how male desire actually works beneath the surface and why some women effortlessly linger in a man's mind long after they've left the room. If you've ever wondered why certain women can create unforgettable impact without being the prettiest, flashiest, or most flirtatious, this is why. They naturally trigger these deeper attraction points. And the good news? You can learn them. You can apply them. And you can watch the difference happen almost instantly. So before we dive into these powerful psychological turn-ons, get ready, because once you understand these hidden triggers, you'll see men in a completely different light, and you'll understand exactly why they respond the way they do. Let's get started. When most people talk about what attracts a man, they focus on surface-level qualities: appearance, flirtation, chemistry, the usual list. But what many overlook is one of the strongest psychological turn-ons a man can experience: the feeling of emotional safety. This isn't about mothering him, rescuing him, or becoming his therapist. Emotional safety is something completely different. It's the rare feeling of being able to exhale around someone, of not needing to perform, impress, or shield parts of himself. And for most men, that feeling is almost shockingly hard to find. Men are often raised to hide vulnerability, to downplay their feelings, to be the strong one, the steady one, the one who doesn't crack. So when a man meets a woman who gives off the energy that he can actually be human, messy, imperfect, honest, it hits him in a place he doesn't even have language for. He may not consciously say, "I feel emotionally safe with her," but his body will react to it. His guard drops, his warmth increases, his attention shifts. His desire becomes deeper, more focused, more anchored. Emotional safety isn't about telling him, "You can talk to me." Anyone can say that. It's about creating an atmosphere where he feels, through your energy, your tone, your reactions, that he can open up without being judged, mocked, or dismissed. It's the difference between listening to respond and listening to understand. It's giving space instead of pressure. It's responding with calmness instead of criticism. It's allowing him to share something vulnerable and not using it against him later. A woman who offers emotional safety isn't passive. She's grounded. She's not needy. She's secure. She doesn't demand that he spill everything. She simply makes it safe for him to do so. And that safety creates a kind of intimacy most men rarely experience. It's the kind that makes him think about you later, long after the conversation ends. It's the kind that turns physical attraction into emotional connection. And when a man feels emotionally safe with you, he unconsciously starts associating you with peace, trust, and relief. 3 feelings that hit harder than lust ever could. Because the truth is, men don't fall for the woman who makes them feel excited. They fall for the woman who makes them feel understood. And emotional safety is the doorway to that kind of deep, unforgettable attraction. Most people think communication is just about talking. But the kind of communication that deeply attracts a man goes far beyond words. It's the tone, the timing, the emotional intelligence behind what you say. It's the subtle difference between communicating to be heard and communicating to be felt. When a woman communicates in a way that feels grounded, intentional, and emotionally tuned in, it hits a man in a way he rarely experiences, because it creates clarity, interest, and emotional resonance all at once. Communication that hits different isn't loud, dramatic, or performative. It's the kind of presence that makes a man feel like he's in a conversation that actually matters. For many men, this type of communication is a shock to the system, because they're used to conversations that feel rushed, transactional, or emotionally heavy. When a woman brings calm curiosity instead of chaos, and self-awareness instead of defensiveness. It creates a kind of emotional oxygen he didn't even realize he needed. The power is in the balance. She expresses herself openly but without dumping. She asks questions without interrogating. She shares her thoughts without trying to force agreement. And she listens, truly listens, without planning her next point or trying to win the exchange. This type of communication creates a quiet magnetism because it shows him that conversations with her won't drain him. They'll energize him. They'll make him think. They'll make him feel seen. And that's something most men don't get from anyone. Another element that separates this communication style from the rest is emotional clarity. Instead of vague hints, passive aggression, or expecting him to magically know what she's feeling, she communicates with honesty and simplicity. She doesn't over-explain, over-justify, or over-dramatize. She says what she means in a way that's calm, direct, and compassionate. That clarity makes a man feel safe, not in the emotional safety sense, but in the I know where I stand with her sense. And that certainty is deeply attractive. This kind of communication also includes the ability to disagree without turning into conflict. A woman who can express boundaries, standards, or differing opinions while staying respectful and composed taps into a part of a man that craves maturity and stability. It shows that she's not controlled by insecurity or emotional volatility. She's someone he can reason with, confide in, and trust. Men are also drawn to women who communicate with authenticity, who speak from genuine emotion instead of pressure or performance. She doesn't try to sound perfect or overly polished, she's real. She doesn't mask her feelings behind sarcasm or coldness. She expresses them with honesty. Realness is incredibly rare, and a man can feel it immediately. Communication that hits different doesn't just make him attracted, it makes him invested. It makes him want to talk more, open up more, be around her more. Because at the end of the day, the right words delivered with the right energy can create connection faster than any physical attraction ever could. And when a man feels understood, challenged, and emotionally engaged through conversation, that's when he starts to see a future, not just a moment with the woman in front of him. Mystery isn't about being secretive, distant, or hard to get. Real feminine intrigue is something far deeper and more magnetic. It's the subtle, irresistible quality of a woman who doesn't reveal everything at once. Someone who carries herself with a sense of inner richness, depth, and intention. A woman with mystery doesn't play games. She simply understands the power of leaving space for curiosity. And curiosity is one of the strongest psychological forces in male attraction. When a man meets a woman who has mystery, he feels drawn to explore her, not because she's closed off, but because there's more to discover. She isn't an open book, but she's also not unreadable. She shares selectively, thoughtfully, and in a way that makes him want to know more. This type of intrigue hits deep because it mirrors a man's natural instinct for pursuit, not chasing, but discovering. Men are wired to move toward what feels valuable, meaningful, and layered. Mystery creates that feeling without manipulation. A woman with feminine intrigue doesn't overshare her emotions, her history, or her opinions up front. She gives enough to connect, but not so much that she becomes predictable. She's open, but she's not transparent in a way that removes depth. This balance creates emotional tension, warm and inviting, yet still leaving something undefined. That undefined space is where his imagination activates. And when a man's imagination gets involved, attraction intensifies. Mystery also shows up in how she carries herself. Her presence feels intentional. Her energy feels calm, not needy. She's engaged in the moment, but not absorbed by him. She maintains her own world, her interests, passions, goals, routines, and she doesn't abandon them for anyone. This self-contained quality is deeply attractive because it signals that she values her own life. A man feels drawn to a woman who clearly lives with purpose because it means getting to know her as an experience, not a transaction. A mysterious woman also knows how to use silence, not as punishment, but as a natural part of communication. She doesn't rush to fill every pause or prove herself. She's comfortable letting things unfold at their own pace, and that ease creates a subtle emotional tension that pulls a man closer. Her silence hints at layers he hasn't explored yet, thoughts she may not say out loud, feelings he senses but can't fully grasp. This makes him curious, attentive, and more invested. What truly separates genuine mystery from mere aloofness is warmth. A woman who is mysterious yet warm is magnetic. She gives him enough emotional presence to feel connected, but enough individuality to keep him guessing. He feels her softness, but also her boundaries. He senses her openness, but also her depth. Mystery isn't about confusion. It's about allure. It's the quiet confidence of a woman who knows she is interesting, not because she tries to be, but because she is naturally layered, thoughtful, and intentional. And when a man feels that unique blend of warmth, depth, and curiosity, he becomes captivated. It's not just attraction, it's fascination. And fascination is one of the most powerful psychological turn-ons a woman can ignite. Authentic confidence isn't loud, flashy, or performative. It's not about being the boldest person in the room, or constantly trying to prove your worth. True confidence, the kind that deeply attracts a man on a psychological level, is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. It comes from knowing who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you're unwilling to settle for. And this form of confidence hits a man harder than looks, harder than charm, and even harder than chemistry, because it signals something rare: self-value. A woman with authentic confidence moves differently. She doesn't chase validation, and she doesn't panic when someone pulls away. She isn't guided by insecurity, nor does she need constant reassurance to feel good about herself. Instead, she operates from a place of inner stability. She knows her strengths, acknowledges her imperfections, and maintains a deep sense of self-respect. This creates a powerful gravitational pull, because when she values herself, a man instinctively feels like he needs to value her too. What makes this confidence so attractive is its effortlessness. She isn't trying to appear confident, she simply is. It shows up in the way she speaks, clear, calm, and intentional. It shows up in the way she carries herself, comfortable, relaxed, present. And it shows up in the way she responds to challenges, without dramatics, without desperation, and without losing her center. That kind of composure tells a man that she's emotionally independent, but not emotionally unavailable. She wants connection, but she doesn't need it to feel whole. Self-value also shapes how she interacts with men. She doesn't tolerate disrespect. She doesn't cling to uncertainty. She doesn't try to convince someone to choose her. Instead, she pays attention to how she's treated, and she adjusts accordingly. When she isn't appreciated, she steps back. When she's valued, she leans in. This ability to walk away from anything that diminishes her is extremely attractive because it communicates boundaries, not through anger, but through self-worth. A man finds this incredibly compelling because it challenges him in a healthy way. He wants to rise to her level. He wants to be consistent. He wants to show up with intention. Her confidence inspires better behavior, not because she demands perfection, but because her energy naturally sets a standard. She becomes the kind of woman a man wants to invest in, someone he respects, admires, and feels proud to pursue. Authentic confidence also creates emotional spaciousness. She doesn't suffocate him with neediness or pressure. She gives him room to show up, make effort, and express interest. This space allows attraction to grow organically, because men are more drawn to someone who isn't trying to control the outcome. Ultimately, a woman who carries authentic confidence and self-value becomes unforgettable, not because she's trying to be, but because she embodies something that feels rare, healthy, and deeply feminine. She becomes the woman who stands out effortlessly, the woman who makes a man think, if I want her, I need to show up as the best version of myself. And that kind of impact lasts far longer than lust ever could. An effortless connection isn't something you can fake or force. It's a natural rhythm between two people that feels smooth, unpressured, and grounded. For a man, this kind of connection is one of the strongest psychological turn-ons, not because it's intense or overwhelming, but because it's peaceful. It allows him to relax into the moment without feeling like he's performing, guessing, or trying to live up to an unspoken expectation. Effortless connection feels like emotional gravity, gentle but impossible to ignore. What makes this so powerful is that it removes tension. Many men go through dating experiences that feel like walking on eggshells, where every word is scrutinized, every pause feels risky, and every interaction feels like a test. When he meets a woman who brings ease instead of pressure, everything inside him softens. He can be present, he can laugh, he can share without rehearsing what he's about to say. and that freedom becomes addictive. Effortless connection shows up in the way conversations flow. There are no awkward power struggles or competitive storytelling. She doesn't interrupt to redirect attention back to herself. She engages, asks, responds, and allows space. Their communication feels like a dance, balanced, fluid, responsive. Even silence feels comfortable, not suffocating. These are the moments that make a man feel like he's known her longer than he actually has. Another part of effortless connection is emotional harmony. She doesn't mirror his mood to gain approval, nor does she overpower the moment with her intensity. Instead, she carries her own steady emotional baseline. This steadiness creates a sense of alignment, where both people can exist in the same moment without competing for emotional ground. When a woman has this calm yet warm energy, it makes everything feel lighter. He feels understood without needing long explanations. He feels accepted without needing to be perfect. What many men find irresistible is how effortless connection removes the typical push and pull dynamic. There's no chasing, no games, no subtle manipulation. She's present without clinging. She's interested without pressuring. She's responsive without being overly available. This balance allows attraction to build naturally instead of being forced. He doesn't feel the need to retreat or protect himself, because the rhythm between them feels emotionally safe. Another thing that makes effortless connection so magnetic is her ability to match energy while maintaining her individuality. She doesn't lose herself in the moment. She doesn't suddenly mold into what she thinks he wants. Instead, she brings her full personality, her humor, her curiosity, her quirks, without trying to perform. That authenticity makes him feel like he can bring his true self too. An effortless connection doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means everything feels real. It's a vibe, an energy, a natural compatibility that doesn't need polishing. And when a man feels this kind of alignment with a woman, it becomes a psychological trigger that sticks with him. He doesn't just want her attention. He wants her presence. He doesn't just desire her physically. He feels drawn to her emotionally. This is the kind of connection that makes him feel like being with her isn't work, it's home. When you look at all 5 psychological turn-ons together, a clear pattern emerges. The qualities that deeply attract a man aren't superficial or performative. They're rooted in emotional intelligence, self-worth, presence, and genuine human connection. These traits don't just make a man desire you, they make him respect you, prioritize you, and feel deeply drawn to you in a way he can't easily explain. And the beautiful thing is, none of these turn-ons require you to change who you are. They simply require you to step into the version of yourself that feels centered, grounded, and truthful. Applying these ideas starts with awareness. Notice the small moments where you might slip into over-explaining, over-giving, or overthinking. Notice where you've been conditioned to perform instead of connect. Notice the habits that come from fear rather than confidence. You don't need to fix everything all at once. You just need to become conscious. When you catch yourself trying too hard to be liked or chosen, that's your moment to shift. Take a breath, slow down, reconnect with your value instead of your worry. Start practicing emotional safety, not by absorbing someone's emotions, but by responding with calmness, curiosity, and presence. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show that you're grounded enough not to be thrown off by vulnerability, either his or your own. Then look at your communication. Speak with intention rather than urgency. Listen without planning your next sentence. Replace assumptions with clarity. Replace defensiveness with understanding. You'll be shocked how quickly this transforms the energy between you and any man you interact with. Mystery and intrigue will grow naturally as you stop feeling the need to overshare or prove yourself. Let people learn you gradually. Let them earn closeness. Give enough to connect, but leave space for curiosity. Your depth becomes more powerful when it's revealed slowly, not all at once. Your confidence and self-value will shine when you start choosing yourself in your boundaries, your time, your expectations, and your energy. This doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being rooted enough in your self-worth that you don't betray yourself to keep someone else. That kind of stability is irresistible. Finally, let connection be easy. Don't force conversations. Don't analyze every detail. Don't try to manufacture chemistry. When something flows, let it flow. When it doesn't, don't chase it. Effortlessness is a state of being, not a strategy. If you apply even one of these principles today, you'll feel a difference. Apply all 5 consistently, and you'll not only attract better men, you'll attract better experiences, connections, and relationships. You'll stop chasing what isn't for you, and start drawing in what aligns with who you are becoming, and that is the real win. As we close out this video, take a moment to really sit with everything you've just heard. These 5 psychological turn-ons aren't tricks. They aren't strategies to manipulate or control a man. They're deeper truths about attraction, truths that shape how a man connects, commits, and invests emotionally. When you understand these dynamics, you're not just becoming more desirable. You're becoming more aligned with the version of yourself that moves through relationships with clarity, confidence, and purpose. You now know how emotional safety draws a man in by giving him space to be real. You've seen how powerful communication can make even simple conversations feel meaningful. You've learned how mystery creates intrigue without mind games, how authentic confidence sets the tone for how you will be treated, and how effortless connection builds chemistry without pressure. Imagine what happens when you begin to embody all of these together. Your presence becomes unforgettable. But knowledge only becomes transformation when you apply it. So here's your challenge as you walk away from this video. Pick one thing you can practice today. Maybe it's pausing before you overshare. Maybe it's speaking with more clarity. Maybe it's slowing down your responses and letting silence work for you instead of against you. Or maybe it's simply reminding yourself that you don't have to prove your worth, you only have to stand in it. And if you found value in this video, let's keep this conversation going. Hit the like button. It tells me this kind of content resonates with you. Make sure you subscribe if you want more breakthrough level insights about attraction, connection, and understanding how men think on a deeper level. And go ahead and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Every week we dive into topics designed to elevate your mindset and your relationships. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 5 psychological turn-ons hit you the hardest? Which one do you want to start practicing first? Your perspective not only helps me create better content, it also inspires everyone else watching who might be going through the same experiences. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your growth, your confidence, and your clarity matter. Keep leveling up, keep leaning into your power, and remember, the right connection doesn't feel forced. It feels aligned. I'll see you in the next video.